everyone, to another episode of 60 Seconds of Stoicism, your only 60-second podcast on the internet that lasts for a half hour. I am your host, Ryan Lee Mays, and I'm with my wife, Melinda.
Hey guys, good to be back.
It is good to be back. We have been on hiatus for the last couple of weeks, mostly because our daughter had a quinceañera. And that was something that requires all blood, sweat, and tears. I joked at her quinceañera, it's like living the opening scene of Home Alone over and over and over again, where everybody's just running crazy. Nobody wants to talk to the other people. Nobody wants to sleep in the same bed because Fuller might wet the bed because he had a Pepsi. It's like that around the house, yes, nonstop as you're getting ready. But we had it. We pulled it off. It was good. It was very interesting because we are students of Stoicism. We do try to practice a little more less extravagant life style, let's put it that way. And a quinceañera is nothing but that nowadays.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So we really try to kind of meet in the middle with our daughter.
We did. We had a budget.
Yeah, we did.
And we went over the budget a little bit, but still, yeah.
We did have a budget. We stuck to it. There was a lot of things we told her, if you want this, then you're going to have to cut this out and that kind of thing. We were trying to teach her stoicism, trying to practice gratefulness and what you have. We did try to make it more traditional. Quinceañeras have now just turned into Sweet 16 parties for the most part, where it's whoever can get the biggest name DJ and the flashiest stuff. So we pulled it off. I think it was very well. We had a lot of people, community that came together to help.
Yes, very, very thankful for that.
And I think that's a really important part. It's going to kind of lead us into what we're doing tonight as well, too. But talking about us all playing our parts to help each other out is a very important thing. I would like to say, happy Star Wars Day to everybody. May the 4th be with you. We are recording on the 4th tonight. And we decided to celebrate Star Wars Day a little bit earlier. We went earlier this week and saw Revenge of the Sith in the theaters.
Yes, it was nice.
Which is good. I'm an old school Star Wars fan, so episode 4, 5, and 6 will always be the best to me, but it was fun to go see Star Wars on the big screen. But there was a particular part in the movie that you really liked that stuck out to you, and it is the scene, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie in the last 25 years or 20 years, go see it, I guess. But spoiler alert, there is a part where Anakin is confronting Count Dooku, and he tells him, I'm much more powerful now. And Count Dooku has a response for him, which is what?
Twice the pride, double the fall.
Exactly.
And man, that really hit when he said that. I was like, ooh, good one.
Twice as strong now, twice the pride, double the fall.
Yep.
And obviously we know that's kind of what happens to Anakin as he goes through this. But kind of he took both of those ideas of community coming together and then the pride we have in ourselves and our accomplishment to come up with our subject for today, which is being part of humanity. Your role within humanity as a human being.
Piece of the puzzle.
The piece of the puzzle. So we titled this episode Play Your Dang Part. That's going to be the title for this. I am a Patriot fan. Hold your booze for that. We're horrible right now. So if you ever wanted your revenge on us, it's happening in this moment. But when we had our Coach Belichick, he had a sign put over the locker room. So when the players came out, and the sign just said, do your job. That was it. Do your job. It wasn't fancy advice. It wasn't groundbreaking. It wasn't something that, we would mark off in books as the greatest quote of all time. It was just very simple. When you go out there on the field, do your job. It's what you're paid for. It's what you're practiced on. It's what you're good at. Do that. I feel like in our society now, we have a very hard time with that concept. It's not the job I have that I want to do well. It's the job I want to do that I want the most and I want to go after. Now, we got to make a kind of a separation here. We're not talking about ambition. We're not talking about dreams to, succeed in something, especially with the goal of helping more people in humanity. We're talking about selfishness right now, where we're looking at ourselves and we're saying, why do I have to be stuck here in this moment? Why do I have to play this part that was given to me? Epictetus made a quote that we're all part of a play, and each one of us is given a part to do in that play. And it is a big picture look at life and humanity. And a lot of times we're not assigned the roles that we want to play in the play. I've never went out for school plays, but I had friends that did, and they would go out to be the lead, and they would end up with, townsperson number 4 in there. And it kind of goes to the there's no small parts, just small actors. And so if we are actors in life, what are our roles that we need to have? So I have a question here before I start putting out some philosophy for us to kind of go over that goes along with this. And as far as our purpose in life as being human beings, why do we think we are more important than where we are in life right now? Why do we think that there's more to achieve, more to do, more accomplish, rather than just playing the role we currently have?
You could be from seeing what everybody else has, society, we look at what everybody else is doing, what everybody else is achieving, even if they're probably not supposed to be doing that. We can't be satisfied to kind of stay in our own lane sometimes. It's always, we want things to be rushed. We want things now. So it can tend to rush us from where the place that you're at now.
Yeah.
And not allowing yourself to be in that time of growth. So it's rushing it.
That's good. Okay, so you have impatience.
Yeah, impatience.
Impatience. I definitely think that's part of it too. If we could see our life in the future, kind of see things unfold and say, okay, I know the good part's coming, I think we'd be more calm. We want it right now. We need to have it right now. I also think a lot of it has to do with where you live. We are very, very blessed in this country. We see our celebrities, our athletes, our politicians, people that are in the public eye achieve. We put social media people on a pedestal, which, hey, they did the work. They put the time in, But that's what we want to achieve. We want it right away, and taking part of your impatience from that as well. But we see the examples given to us of success, and we don't see the people that do the mundane everyday jobs glorified to a level of appreciation, to where we're telling our kids that. We had a student at my school years ago that wanted nothing more in his life to be a garbage man. That was it. In fact, he loved the garbage man so much, I think they had stopped and said hi to him or visited him or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was a big deal. And from the entire time that I knew him, he never changed what he wanted to be. He wanted to be a garbage man. Now, most people would probably, from a societal perspective, look down on him and say, that's it? That's all you want to do? But not for him. It was a passion. And for people who have taken that job and excelled at it, they should be celebrated. It's something that they should be appreciated for. It's something that we should take our time and show our kids. Look at these people doing these jobs that no one says thank you for. Let's go up and say thank you to them, because that would completely change their day and their outlook on it, just to know that you're appreciated. Yeah. We know this as teachers. A lot of times people don't appreciate the work that we do for it, and that's okay. I don't need, the applause or glory for that, and most teachers don't. But it's nice when a parent recognizes you. And you were saying something to me about that earlier, about when a parent tells you, about being a teacher and how hard a job it is.
Yeah, I've had many times where parents have come in and said, hey, I could never do this. This is a rarity. Nobody would ever dare to, put up with what you do. And I'm really grateful for what you do, because not everybody can do this job. And people really think that when I was working in early education at the time, people would just say, oh, you're just a preschool teacher. You're not a real teacher. And it would sting, because I was just like, if only you knew that preschool is not just babysitting and watching children. There's a lot of education and teaching and basic training and just teaching these kids social, emotional, and all the things that you have to deal with. But you've grown and that you truly care when the impact of your words and have made a difference on other people. And sometimes you have to be able to accept that, whether they give that confirmation or not, and to just know, whatever I'm doing, I see the impact. I could see the growth of these children. I could see how it's working, whether the parents or whether anybody recognizes it or
Sure.
not. So yeah.
And that's kind of the confirmation you have to see when you look in the mirror at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Did I make an impact? I know, that I made an impact firsthand, even if no one else recognized it. And you have to be confident enough and satisfied enough with that to help you go on to the next thing. Another question. So actually, let's do some philosophy because I want to throw this question afterwards. It applies to this. We always talk about the walk between Christianity and Stoicism, how they were exactly at the same time, how they were rivals to some point, depending on how historians look at it. But they have some very sharp similarities in what the things that they say. Sometimes it makes you wonder if one had heard the other from the other through somebody else passed down. But in First Corinthians in the Bible it says, "For the body is not one member but many. If the foot shall say, because I am not a hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear shall say, because I'm not an eye, I'm not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where would the hearing come from? If the whole body were hearing, where would the smelling come from? But now hath God set the members, every one of them, in the body as it hath pleased him." So basically saying, don't say, I'm a foot and I'm not a hand and I want to be a hand, so I'm not satisfied with it. You have a part to play in the body. Now, keep that in mind. That was Corinthians. Now, let's go over to Stoicism and Epictetus. A lot of talk about feet here. What's the meaning of saying that external things may be either in accord with nature or contrary to nature? It depends on whether or not we see ourselves as an isolated entity. Consider a foot, for instance. I may think it's normal for a foot to be clean, but if you take it as a foot and not as an isolated part of the body, it will also be appropriate for it to step in mud or on thorns or even sometimes be amputated for the sake of the whole body. Otherwise, it isn't a foot. We should think similarly of ourselves. What are you? You're a human being. If you look at yourself as some special isolation, it's natural for you to want to live to be super old or to be rich or to be healthy for the rest of your life. But if you look at yourself as a human being playing a part of the whole for the sake of the whole, then maybe it's appropriate for you to be ill or for you to risk your life in the ocean or to be poor or to die young. So then why get angry? Don't you realize that just a foot taken in isolation isn't a foot? The same goes for a human being. And I love the way he takes this and gets so in depth into it. And he talks about if the foot wants to isolate itself from the body, it's no longer a foot. It's of use to no one. If you cut off the foot, if you amputate it and set it to the side, the rest of the body will live on. But now that foot's useless. And we want to do that. We want to isolate ourselves from society and say, I'm not here to help other people. I'm not here to make sure that everybody's doing okay. I'm not here to advance my community. I want to do what's best for me. In essence, amputating ourselves from society, cutting ourselves off from humanity, and saying it's all about me for this. So here we have these two different thoughts at the same time, Christianity and Stoicism, saying the same thing. Do your dang job. That's what they're saying.
Ooh, I think I felt at some point that God kind of slapped that in my face.
Mm-hmm.
So, just, again, working in early education for many years, and I felt like, why can't I ever hold a job for more than 2 years in a place? And I kept, going from place to place. But then I started finally seeing, my purpose. I like Christine Kane's quote. She says, "Divine purpose embraces a place." Sorry if I get emotional.
No, it's okay. This is deep.
But she says, "Selfish ambition wants a position." And selfishly, I wanted a position. I was like, why can't I hold a place like everybody else? Like everybody else has years and years of just a history at a job for more than 2 years. And I selfishly was like, why not me? Why can't I be the person? Why is it that every place I go to is corrupt? But I had to realize what my divine purpose was, and I had to embrace that. And that was God was taking me from job to job to be that foot, to be that ear, to be that voice for children that were being abused in these places that I was working at. I would come in and I was reporting, directors and teachers and even pastors who weren't abiding by the rules, and, just I was witnessing abuse to children. I was witnessing all these things that were going on, and I just couldn't understand, like, and I started to lose the vision of what God was really, the things that I had gone through in my past had really affected me, but it was also the reason why I was the only person that was standing up to these places and being the voice for these kids. And I started to embrace that over years of just saying, okay, God, I understand what you're doing with me. I understand you've allowed me to go through these things in my life. I've seen my own children go through things in life that have caused me to be that voice for these kids. And now I know why I go from job to job, because nobody else was willing to do their dang job.
Yeah.
Nobody else was willing to step up. Nobody else was willing to do the right thing. They would come and tell me because they were afraid to do the right thing. And so I had to be that voice for the kids. I had to be the person to do the right thing. So, yeah.
I want to also say, just to kind of follow up with that. So you said two things that stick out to me. One is it came first from a place of selfishness, where I want to be at this place. I want to have a long career. And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that selfishness. You want to always do your best and be at a good place and find that. But it went from what can I do to advance myself to what can I do to help others.
To help others.
For all of that. And you did. I mean, you I know, obviously know your situation and know what the things that you've gone through. And they were offering you positions in management. They were, because it would have helped cover things up under the rug, and you wouldn't have had to speak out against these things. And these were blatant violations of state licensing and laws that they were doing. And, you were able to kind of be a voice to rectify that. So it does have to go from desire to duty,
Yes.
basically, between those two things.
That's exactly
There
what
is
it
a
was.
great quote, another one from Epictetus that goes along with that. It says, "Don't you realize that we're involved in a military operation? One person has to stand guard, another one has to go out on reconnaissance, and another even has to go out and fight. It's neither possible nor desirable for everyone to stay in the same place. But you're failing to carry out the duties assigned you by your commanding officer. You protest when you're given work that's all demanding, and you fail to appreciate the effect you're having on the army itself, insofar as it's something that you can affect. If everyone copied you, no one would dig a trench, or erect a palisade, or keep awake through the night, or expose himself to danger. Everyone would prove to be useless as a soldier. If you all just did what you all wanted to do, you would be defeated as an army. But everybody has to play a role. For your role, as he said, you were the guard. You were out there watching. You were trying to see what was going on, and you were reporting things that were wrong. The person that has to do reconnaissance and go out and put themselves in harm's way to say, how can I make this better? That can be things like, law enforcement. That can be things like politicians, good politicians that are trying to go out and make a change. People standing up in colleges saying this is wrong. We need to form ourselves together, If everybody is not playing a part in humanity, then we all fail. Nothing gets done. According to Epictetus, we all die. We all die. Because the other army will just come in and to overtake us. And that other army is just life itself. So it's very good. Another question here. Are we driven to that selfishness that we sometimes have more by our own ego or by our enemies? Is it more to lift ourselves up, or is it more to prove people wrong?
Yeah, I think that's on an individual basis.
Okay.
I feel like it could be either or. Some people are driven by their own ego and, and just driven by, competition, with enemies, or even just because they're trying to prove something to their own family, to their parents. people who've said you're never going to amount to nothing, you're not going to go further than what this family has been. This is what you know, this is where you've grown, this is what you're going to be. And I don't know, how dare you think that you're going to be anymore.
Yeah.
So,
I am very enemy driven in my life. It's never by ego. It's not. It's not like, oh, I got to so that, the stranger can look at me. It's always been revenge focused for me. And I say that in humility because it's something that I've really tried to work on. I was bullied as a kid, so my revenge became to show them all that I was going to be better than they were. And not by Marcus Aurelius standards and not being like them, but that I was going to get into a place where I could look down on them after that, which is not a proper motivation for it. I wanted to achieve education because I had an 8th grade teacher that told my mom not only was he not going to graduate 8th grade, I would be surprised if he could make it through his first couple years of high school. That's what he told my mom. Now I'm in my PhD program. And I'm driven by that motivation to show that teacher, who's probably not even alive anymore, I'm just going to be 100% honest, that he was wrong for it. So I'm driven by the enemy on a lot of things, and I should be driven by betterment of society. Yeah. What can I give back by accomplishing this? And that's really where my Stoic training and studying is trying to take me through all of this. We have to realize that.
I think there's another quote that Christine King gives. She's like, you've grown when you want God's will instead of your own. And I think it's okay to be driven by those things, because sometimes maybe it might start out bad. It might start out for those reasons. But then when we really start to get into life and life experiences and the people that we surround ourselves with, and if we are serving God, we start to grow, we start to mature, and we start to say, not my will or my selfish ambitions, but God, your will and whatever you want for me. We start to learn that as we get older.
That's what Epictetus is saying. Exactly. So yeah, he's saying the exact same thing. Let me throw out another bit of philosophy from Seneca here. The universe that you see containing the human and the divine is a unity. We are the limbs of a mighty body. Doesn't this just sound like 1 Corinthians? Yeah. Seneca saying that? But we are the limbs of a mighty body. Nature brought us to birth as kin. We're all together intertwined. Since it generated us all from the same materials and for the same purposes, endowing us with the affection for one another and making us companionable. Nature established fairness and justice, and according to nature's dispensation, it is worse to harm than to be harmed. Once the basis of nature's command, let our hands be available to help whenever necessary. We are here to take care of each other. Yeah. That is your dang job.
That is our dang job.
Is to take care of each other. We are to look out for each other. We are to take positions and to seek out jobs that can help each other. And well, not everybody can be a doctor, Ryan. No, but you can be the garbage man that is helping everybody else, making everybody else's life easier, making the doctor or the scientist or the next breakthrough that's happening a little bit easier in their life by doing it. And we have to be interconnected. And that's what the whole idea of Logos was for the Stoics, was we are all interconnected somehow. And that interconnection to me is just being part of the human the embodiment of this world. Yeah. We all have to rely on each other through these things.
Our oldest daughter just got a job, and they loved what she said in her interview because it was for a cleaning position at a healthcare facility. And, she's worked in early education as well. And, they said, why do you feel like this job is good for you? And she said, because even though I'm still scrubbing toilets and mopping the floor, this healthcare facility, but I know that I'm making a difference for someone in this healthcare facility.
That's good.
They still need the bathroom cleaned. They still need to feel safe in a place, and it's clean and it's properly taken care of, because that is part of healthcare. Mm-hmm. It's making a place safe and clean for that person. And so they were pretty wowed by that, because she said, I still feel like I'm making a difference for someone, even if it is just cleaning a toilet.
That's good.
So I'm really proud of my daughter for that.
Very good. The most important job in the hospital, when you're in there and you see everybody running around like ants trying to get everything done in there, the most important job in the hospital for that day might be the person who's pushing the tray of coffee around
It is.
to everybody else, because it's keeping them going, it's keeping them helping other people. And so if we don't have those parts, if we don't play those parts, and we don't realize how important what we are doing to other people are, everything starts to crumble and falls apart. I want to throw out the name of a man that I'm sure probably most of you guys have never heard of. His name is James Harrison. And James Harrison has a very, very special ability. This man is responsible for saving 2.4 million people's lives. And you've never heard of him. That's because he has a rare blood that produces an antibody that cures the rhesus disease, which is a disease in unborn infants that kills them. They call it blue baby syndrome. It's a death to children. His blood is a rarity. In fact, he's got the nickname the man with the golden arm because he's given blood 1,173 times.
Wow.
That is his role in humanity. We know nothing of this guy. He's not on a Wheaties box. I don't wear his jersey on sports day. We're not seeing him on TV and running for some political position or seeing him in the next blockbuster movie. And this man has done more good for society than all of those people combined. 2.4 million babies saved because this man has a gift that was given to him where he can give blood to help other people. And so his blood is actually being taken right now and being used to create something. I forgot what it's called. It's like RD is the name of it, but it's going to be this antibody that they can synthetically use now to stop this terrible disease, this rhesus disease that can kill babies. But he played his part. He could have said, no, I don't want to get my arm poked 1,173 times to give blood. I'll give a couple pints here and there. I'll give it the office, but I got a corporation that I want to run, or I've got some fame I want to catch, or I've got, this or that. Instead, he stepped up and said, if this is what I have to contribute, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
That's amazing.
and 2.4 million lives have been saved because of him. Do your dang job for it. You have no idea the impact you're making and the very thing that you're doing right now for that. All right, we're getting close down to time, but I have a big question to ask at the end, and it's probably one that's going to open up a can of worms. So here we go. What do we do when other people aren't playing their parts? We're doing our dang jobs.
Very, very forgiving. A lot of forgiveness.
Right.
I think for me in that area, man, I've been put in that position a lot. I was raised by a stepfather and a mom who are very hard workers. And I was also raised in a Christian family that said, everything that you do as if you're doing it unto the Lord. And I'm not perfect, and I have my failure moments, and I have my days where I probably don't perform the best. But with that being said, I've always tried to really keep that in mind. It didn't matter what job position I was doing. So try to show up, try to be on time, try to do my dang job as if I was doing it unto God, and be example that my parents set before me. So it's hard when I have to pick up the slack for someone else or have to do someone else's job because they're not doing their job. But all I can do is just remember that I cannot control other people around me. Dichotomy of control, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can only control myself and what I do. And just hope that I could be that example for that person. Mm-hmm. I could be that example, and hopefully through that example, they'll want to be better. They'll want to show up and do their job. But I also have to remember that everybody is on a different journey. Everybody is on a different season of their life learning. Like, we're all at different levels. I can't expect for someone else to be at the level that I am because I had to come at the level that I was in my growing period. So I have to remember they're growing. They're still learning. And I can't judge that. I have to just allow them to learn through their mistakes, just like I'm trying to teach my own kids here at home.
Mm-hmm. That's very good.
And the students that I teach at my job as well.
Because that person that may be the worst employee right now might hit a level of enlightenment in their life where they look at themselves and say, whoa, I need to fix some things.
Yeah.
I need to get, I've got to train more and learn more and grow more. And then they become an excellent, employee. They become an excellent owner of a business. They become, so you're right. You're right. It's very hard for us to not make assumptions and judgments right away. And just say that person is useless. I also believe that we can shame people two different ways. One way is the wrong way. You go up to them and say, you're terrible at your job. I wish you weren't here. I'm going to try to get you fired. Like, believe it or not, there are people that do that. You can also shame somebody into taking an example, a look at themselves by how you behave and how you work.
Yeah.
And it's not to be like, oh, I got them because, man, I'm the ultimate employee. Everybody look at me. No, it's by providing an example to where they're like, hey, this person over here is happy. They're working hard. Good things are happening for them. Man, I actually need to get myself together.
The boss is showing them favor.
Yeah, exactly. I need to start doing my dang job, and that might help to elevate them too. Also, I think it's very important for us to go up and take the extra step. And this is what Marcus Aurelius would tell us to do. Mm-hmm. Take that extra step and say, how can I help you with this job? Yeah. I got all my work done, and, is there something else that I can take on? Or I saw that maybe you're just struggling and maybe you're not. I'm just checking in with you because if there's any way I can help you, I will. Just knowing that there's somebody else there to support can help elevate that person to want to do more.
Definitely.
In fact, Aurelius said, rational creatures are to one another as body parts are to a single organism. Reason enjoins them to cooperate in pursuit of a single aim, to continue this life as human beings. That is the single aim. It's to, for Christians, our goal is to go to heaven. For people who are not Christians, their goal is to live the best life possible on there. The single aim of everyone is to be better people. To be better people to each other. At least it should be.
Amen to that.
For that. So that's how we want to do it. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We are so happy to be back. Our YouTube channel is growing. I think we hit over 2,500 subscribers this week. So please go check us out at MyStoic60. We've got some new ideas that are coming on there. We got a new studio we're filming from as well. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be putting stuff on there for philosophy for parents, philosophy for kids, just trying to help everybody else do our jobs, and continue taking care of each other. I also want to say, and I'm sure I can echo this for you, thank you to everyone who does their part, who plays their part to the best of their ability. Thank you to the garbage mans. Thank you to the grocery store clerks, to the librarians, to the bus drivers, to the people who are working Uber, DoorDash, everything all together.
Maintenance, cleaning jobs.
Exactly. Bringing food to hospitals and taking care of your family. You guys are all playing a very vital, important part. And if one small thing is taken out, everything else crumbles. Like Epictetus said, if there's nobody digging the trenches, we all die. We all get destroyed. So thank you guys all for playing your part. You're very important. You're very valuable in what you do. And that's what this is all about. Like Aurelius said, we're all just trying to be better people. That's our single aim. So, all right, thank you guys very much. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Please subscribe. If you haven't yet, share the podcast with other people. You can check out the podcast again on YouTube as well. And until next time, we will see you soon. And as always, Semper Studiosus. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night.